Going, everybody? My name is Darkness, and welcome to a little different kind of video. I knew I was going to do the Dr. Seuss stuff, but I decided against it today. So I decided I was just going to do some legends and ghost stories from my area where I live in Ohio. There's been a bunch of ghost stories. Ohio is very famous for a lot of the ghost stories and urban legends. So I thought I would tell you guys about some. We'll go through like different websites and show you different stories and urban legends of Ohio. So if you guys are ready, we will get this video started. The first story is actually not that far from me where I live. I live in St. Henry, Ohio, and this is actually in Spencerville, Ohio, which is about 45 minutes from my house. And one of the biggest urban legends is called Bloody Bridge. And it's just outside of Spencerville, Ohio on Route 66. So there's a little story about this, so I'm going to read it for you guys. So you guys can read along with me. So it says up here, just outside Spencerville on Route 66 lies a bridge that crosses the Miami-Erie Canal. According to legend, this is the site of a grisly murder in 1854. In 1977, the Auglaize County Historical Society erected a plaque near the bridge that recounts the events of that night. During the canal years of the 1850s, a rivalry grew between Billy Jones and Jack Billings for the love of Minnie Warren. There became hatred by Bill because Jack chose Minnie. On a fall night in 1854, returning home from a party, Minnie and Jack were surprised on the bridge by Bill, armed with an axe. With one swing, Bill severed Jack's head. Seeing this, Minnie screamed and fell into the watery grave. Bill disappeared, and when his skeleton was found years later in a nearby well, people asked, was it suicide or justice? Almost immediately after the murders, whispers of ghostly images seen on and around the bridge began to surface. One legend tells of a headless man who can sometimes be seen on the bridge at night. Others say that sometimes when you look off the bridge into the dark water, you can see Minnie Warren's face looking back. People began referring to the bridge as Bloody Bridge, and when the original was replaced, people from miles around took pieces of it as souvenirs. A tribute to the strength of its story, a new bridge that still carries the name, Bloody Bridge. I know about this legend. I heard about this when I was younger. I knew about the murder because there's more to the story that they don't actually say. There was also another murder that happened during a prom night that was also a similar situation. Where another man was beheaded and his head fell into the river. So, yeah, these are urban legends. Yeah, these are ghost stories. But shit like that could happen. A man gets jealous over the love of a woman, makes him go crazy, and he beheads somebody. So we're going to go to the next one. So yeah, I found a website called the 12 Ghost Stories and Urban Legends that prove Ohio is the creepiest state. I'm going to go through I'm not going to do every single one, obviously, because there's 12 of them. So I'm going to cut into different ones. I'll probably do maybe 6 or 7 of them, and then that'll be about it. Here is one called the Cincinnati Music Hall is less songs and more specters. So I'm going to read this out for you guys, so you guys just listen along. It turns out that the Cincinnati Music Hall is super haunted, mega haunted even. When a steamboat exploded in the 19th century Cincinnati, the bones of hundreds of people got displaced all over the city. In the end, the remains are placed in a field which eventually became the foundation of the hall. Further down the line, it was revealed that the hall also stands atop of an old orphan asylum and a Civil War hospital. Because if you're going to be haunted, best cover all your bases. One night watchman says that while he's never seen any particular ghosts, he's definitely felt them. The guy says, they never touched me, but I always know when they're around, by an icy chill, a thrill of electricity. a feeling like what the French call "pot à pute," goose flesh. They never annoy me now by mere knocking or raping for what I've gotten used to. So used to it that sometimes when people have really knocked at the door, I didn't open because I thought it was only the dead that kept knocking. So that one's interesting. That's a little different because why not build a music hall on top of an old orphan asylum and a Civil War hospital? But that's one of those. Here's another one about the Ohio State Reformatory, which I have been to. I went there one year for Halloween, and they had a haunted house that was there. It's called the Mansfield Reformatory now, not the Ohio State Reformatory. It was also where they recorded they filmed the movie The Shawshank Redemption, which is actually pretty cool. So this one's called "Have You Heard the Voices at the Ohio State Reformatory?" Of course, an old-timely prison is haunted. Are you nuts? Though no one ever was formally executed at the Ohio State Reformatory, 200 deaths occurred within the Mansfield Reformatory walls, leading to all sorts of vengeful spirits roaming its hallways. One of them is supposedly Helen Glattke, the wife of the prison's one-time warden, who was accidentally shot in the lung when a gun fell off of the shelf. However, a rumor goes that she actually killed herself and the accident story was a cover-up. Another prisoner also set himself on fire in his cell, and even the surrounding grounds are allegedly haunted by the ghost of an eccentric old woman. Perhaps the most terrifying is the Hole, a solitary confinement space located in the reformatory basement. Designed for 20 people at most, guards crammed it full of prisoners that would berate and torture. One famous incident tells of 2 prisoners going into the hole and only one emerging alive. Another one called "Welcome to Helltown." This is actually, they don't actually have any haunted houses around there, but there have been haunted houses that have been erected to simulate the town itself. When it comes to Helltown, Ohio, you get your pick of urban legends. Originally known as Boston, Ohio, the town was decommissioned. Can you decommission an entire town? In 1974, when President Ford turned it over to the National Park Services, the unexpectedness of the evacuation caught Helltown's residents off guard, who ended up losing everything. Now we know how the Indians felt was found scrawling on the walls of an abandoned structure, only adding to the negative vibes of the defunct town. While the most prevalent legends of Helltown tell of ghost children, spooky old men who hide their faces, and churches overrun by Satanists, the one that actually kind of true legend is that of the end of the world. This world is a supposedly possessed road that kills you if you drive its curves. While there may or may not be spirits trying to crash your car, there are definitely a bunch of idiots driving around in the middle of nowhere, crashing into each other, and basically making the legend come true. So that's a little different one. I've seen this on the news though and I've seen a bunch of YouTube videos where people are actually driving on that road, and they've been reportedly seeing like somebody standing in the middle of the road, and when they try to go and check on the person, it disappears. So that's a little different story, but here's the last one that we're going to do. It's called the Melon Heads. Here's pictures of them, and they look like they got giant watermelons on their head. They look a lot like aliens. But here's the story. If you drive through Lake County, Ohio, late at night and happen to see something that resembles a pack of hydrocephalics staring out at you from the tall grass, you might have stumbled across the fabled Melon Heads of Ohio. Allegedly, the government ran a number of experiments that eventually left a group of humans with heads swelling to enormous sizes. obviously the government found little to do with a bunch of big noggins. So the story goes that they got dumped off in the woods near Kirtland, Ohio, not far from Cleveland. But because every story gets retold, more paranormal theories have been proposed about the Melon Heads. Some believe them to be ghosted children who burned to death in a cabin fire. The children were subjected to tests by a man named Dr. Crow, whose work caused their heads to inflate to their larger size. Regardless of their origin, the Melon Heads get cited the most at Wisner Road, where many high schoolers go in an attempt to witness them firsthand. So that's the last one of the urban legends of Ohio that I'm gonna do for this video. So I know you guys probably really weren't too excited about the Dr. Seuss series, which I know it sounds a little lame that I'm gonna be doing a series about Dr. Seuss. But Dr. Seuss is actually a very creative author and has been known to do some crazy shit. So even if I do Dr. Seuss stories, that doesn't mean that I'm just gonna do the books. I could end up doing some crazy shit myself. But that's all I really have for this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you have not yet. I'm gonna do more, probably more top 10 stories and shit about ghosts as it gets closer to Halloween, because I really enjoy Halloween, and there's a fucking lot of horror stories, not just in Ohio, but around the United States and other countries. So I will look into other countries as well as more stories from around the United States itself and do videos of those. But thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I will see all you dudes and ladies in the next video. Bye bye.